can you feel the flame? Hold on, I can make it rain. Oh, do you hear the thunder? No, don't let it bring you down. Look up and see the light. You're not alone, don't give up like that. Oh yeah, got a ways to go. Break that wall, let the spirit flow. I know you ain't done yet. Don't stop to catch your breath. You're going higher and higher, higher and higher. Let go, set me free. Got the streets all I need. We're going higher and higher, higher and higher. Oh, keep running. Oh, keep running. Oh, keep running.
The Titans are now on the clock.
King is born. I told you before. A king is born. Now I told you before. King is born. Oh yeah.
Adam, what can you tell us about the Titans' newest player?
He's
Cause I've been down so long that my crown and throne is destined. Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend, legend, legend. Like a bull in a glass house. No bull about to smash out. Can't nothing stand in my way. I don't care what the place is. From the penthouse to pavement. You better hear what I say. Hey, yeah. It's my soul is blessed. The king is born. My mind confess I'm a bad, bad man. Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend. Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend, legend. 'Cause I've been down so long that my crown is.
Okay, so they just picked up Malone. What's the latest on him, Adam?
It's always great to see a running back win the Heisman. It's like a sign that the old ways of ground and pound haven't completely vanished. He was a pure workhorse for the team and accounted for well over 60% of its total offensive production. Remove him from the team, and I strongly believe it wouldn't have finished at the top of its conference. And now he has the chance to carry the ball at the next level, and this team just got a gem of a player. We'll see if he becomes its primary ball carrier right from the start, or if it incorporates him into a running back by committee system.
The Bears are now on the clock.
Big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet.
Your face ain't big for my boots. Kick up the U. Man, know that I kick up the U. Them boy there try to suck the truth. How dare you to suck the truth? Look, you're getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet. Your face ain't big for my boots. Kick up the U. Man, know that I kick up the U. Them boy there try to suck the truth. How dare you to...
The Jets are now on the clock.
Boy, do it. Run all the talking, go on and do it. Running through the party, bottle up. Rolls in my ear saying storms, don't do it. Devil on my shoulder, I don't lack. Getting with the business, I don't scrap. Even when I'm bar wars, I'm so easy right, but there's no car and no match. What you talking about? Clown, stand down. Never had a thing, never had a pound. You were never bad then, you ain't bad now. Never had them, then look back down. Wait, I saw bare kicks, saw bare clothes. Said not that, I can't wear those. I don't like them, they're not my thing. They went silent, they're all weirdos. Like yeah, storm's gone clear. Never had a Tom Ford or a Montclair. Man, them a calm, but you see my don there. Tell them don't do it, don't dare. Don't care who you know from my block. You're not Al Capone, they can take my car and my creps. I'll still do the road in my socks. Like who's gonna stop me? You, him, little man. I got blue slims. Don't be an idiot, move smart. I've been killing it, new king. You were never ready for my new stuff. You're a boy by yourself, go and group up. And when Crep went states for the BTs, I was covering Crep like a boot cut. If mad, it's a family thing, straight family thing. Dumb man, I broke no salary thing. Had a young thing called Amy telling me to come round hers on a Valerie thing. Hashtag Murky Academy thing. You were like art and the gallery thing. Dumb boy there wanna chat about bars, wanna chat about. You're getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet. Your face ain't big for my boots. Kick up the U. Man, know that I kick up the U. Them boy there try to suck the truth. How dare you to suck the truth? Look, I'm too hot. I got money in my shoebox. I'm the man of the house when my show sold out like the brother from the Boondocks. Beat Swan on my boombox. Still meat from the stew pot. Man, I'm go sick when my tune drops. Little man, that's a hooplo, not a hoopla. What? Pronounce it right. I go magic, I'm down to die for this. I don't care, bro, I'm down. Man, stress, so I'm bound to lie my slips. Wait, I'm bound to ride for flips. Real G's gonna ride around to this. Man, I got no time to write at this. I never left my 9 to 5 for this waste man thing. I don't care what rave man's in. I came here to relax, but if it gets mad, make a young boy take man's things. Try to tell me I'm way too big to rebel. Nah, man, you're never too big to rebel. I was in the O2 singing my lungs out.
The Redskins are now on the clock.
Y'all blow a kiss to my girl. Salute to my sister as well. Gotta keep trophies down at my mum's bit. Man, I'm getting way too big for my shelf. Man, I see bare MCs on the sideline, but I still got a couple bangs in the pipeline. Man, I got grown men at me. You're getting way too old for the timeline. You're getting way too old for it, this. Should've looked after your kids. Get out the booth, go home to your son. It's never too late to commit. It's like man love, put my name in a random flag, get a plane to Qatar. This year I learned how to take care of business. Next year I'll learn how to play the guitar. You're getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet. Your face ain't big for my boots. Kick up the U. Man, know that I kick up the U. Them boy there try to suck the truth. How dare you to suck the truth? Look, you're getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet. Your face ain't big for my boots. Kick up the U. Man, know that I kick up the U. Them boy there try to suck the truth. How dare you to suck the truth?
Rather you than me. If you've been with me from Port of Miami, it's been a journey. Ain't nothing changed. A little stronger, a little wiser. Maybe a little more. Blame it on America. I'm pulling off the lot, I bought the cash. Whoa. Her future bright, don't give nobody bad. Whoa. Be looking good inside the whoa. But I noticed that she missing all the edges. Whoa. I run the game just by running with the whoa. Poor attitude, they got rich calisthenics. Whoa. Walking in the courtroom, sipping on the
The Dolphins are now on the clock.
So I got a lot of leverage. On these disadvantage. Fully loaded on the 7. Your dog did a damn, you never wrote a letter. Whoa. Still in the box, got a rap in acapella. Whoa. Can't trust the people with the weapon. Whoa. I got it, boy, don't make me be the devil. Whoa. He knocking up.
The Falcons are now on the clock.
Gave me his blessings while I'm hotter than the last verse.
Dead presidents, dead presidents. Dead presidents, hit them dead presidents.
Let's go, all my little militant. Let's go, I'm innocent.
Dead presidents, hit them dead presidents. Dead presidents, hit them dead presidents.
Feds. Let's go, I'm innocent.
I got that like Tommy Lee. I make money. On my third passport, in them, I got at the airport.
The Ravens are now on the clock.
Busting down 100 in the bathtub. Get some house shoes. I got money. I got war wounds. Get the coaching on that. Ain't no dance moves. I was posted on the stoop, hanging with my Haitians. On the news, on front pages. Ain't no relations. I was stacking being Franks and Boston. 2 times in a row, that's a repeat. You end up, cause they easy. I'm in the freezy. She love me like she need me. I got my Maybach flooded out with extra TVs. I make up every single day. I judge a vulture when I flip the padded face.
The Saints are now on the clock.
Let's go, all my little militant. Let's go, I'm innocent.
Dead presidents, dead presidents. Dead presidents, dead presidents.
Feds. Let's go, I'm innocent.
Hands on me, got the yellow brace. Check off in my pocket like the yellow paste. Was what I was asking. Low facility, I keep it classy. Build an empire, yeah, that was my state of mind. Yeah, that was my state of mind. Keep the blocks over there, we call it Lego Land. Meanwhile, it's like it's Amsterdam. Boy fresh, you know who got the tropes. 16 when I bought my first rollie. Legend in my hood, just like a never ride in the extra car. Dead presidents, dead presidents. Dead presidents, hit them dead presidents.
Let's go, all my little militant. Let's go, I'm innocent.
Dead presidents, hit them dead presidents. Dead presidents, hit them dead presidents.
Feds. Let's go, I'm innocent.
Yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Yeah, you know I've been ballin'.
The Steelers are now on the clock.
I'm a straight. Make it rain just to let you know I've been ballin'. Yeah, I've been ballin'.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
Let you know I'm ballin'. I'm a straight. Make it rain just to let you know. Tell her hater get.
The Raiders are now on the clock.
Yeah, I've been ballin' since like yesterday. Yeah, all this money all up in the way. All this money in the way. You know that I'm walking with the bird.
Raiders just picked up Carter. Adam, what do you have here?
He was a receiver who needed a strong offseason to really change the opinion of him, but he had one of the worst pro days among wide receivers in this class. As Matt Miller put it, he was too focused on the next step instead of securing the ball. This led him to dropping a few passes on what should have been simple routes. I think their wide receiver coach can teach him to maintain focus on the ball before trying to make a move. They'll need to improve that if he's going to make an impact early in his career.
Yeah. Just to let you know I'm ballin'. I'm a straight. Make it rain just to let you know. Yeah. You cannot see me, the windows is tinted. Yeah. Driving around right in that Bentley. Bentley. Ay, you drive around right that Bentley. Ay, but your shit, it just be rented. Ay, but that is none of my business. Ay, money won't stop me, go straight to the top. Believe it or not, just like in the side. Yeah, she know I'm a rock star. Looking at my chain, on my diamonds rock hard. Turn the way up, I ain't getting tired. And if you wanna race, then we gonna ride. Yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Ay, yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Ay, every day I'm shot callin'. I'm a spike.
The Lions are now on the clock.
I've been ballin'. Ay, yeah, I've been ballin'. Yeah, just to let you know I'm ballin'.
The Bengals are now on the clock.
Make it rain just to let you know.
I got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. Quarter piece, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA. I got hustle, though, ambition, flow inside my DNA.
The Browns are now on the clock.
Immaculate conception, I transform like this, perform like this with new weapon. I don't contemplate, I meditate, then off your head. This that put the kids to bed. This that I got realness. I just killed this cause it's in my DNA. I got millions, I got riches building in my DNA. I got dark, I got evil that rot inside my DNA. I got off, I got trouble, some heart inside my DNA. I just win again, then win again like Wimbledon I serve. Yeah, that's him again, the sound that engine in is like a bird.
The Houston Oilers are now on the clock.
I know how you work, I know just who you are. See, use it. You almost probably switch inside your DNA. Problem is, all that inside your DNA. Daddy probably snitched.
The Brooklyn Yanks are now on the clock.
Backbone don't exist. Burn on side a jellyfish I gauge. See my pedigree, most definitely don't tolerate the front. Like been through probably.
The Steelers are now on the clock.
I know conviction, burners, boosters, ballers, dead, redemption, scholars, fathers.
The Steelers' pick is in, but was it a desperate selection with Clausen?
A common complaint scouts like Matt Miller had was his dependence on raw power rather than proper technique. He tested well physically at his pro day, moving fast and displaying some strength. But in swim and rip drills, his hands looked slow and he relied more on his weight to move through the drill. If his technique doesn't, he may find himself getting locked up by linemen and unable to break free.
Salute the truth and the prophecy. I got loyalty, got royalty inside
This is
my
why
DNA.
they say that hip-hop has done more damage to young African-Americans in recent years.
Eagles just picked up Dalton. Adam, what do you know about him?
Once thought of as a top 3 offensive line pick in the draft, a series of poor performances that saw him miss several routine blocks and surrender multiple sacks had most scouts losing interest. Ross Tucker felt that he simply fell into some bad habits with his footwork, citing a lack of focus that sometimes happens when a young kid with talent begins reading his own press clippings and becomes enamored with where he'll land in the NFL. Tucker may have been onto something regarding him reading the press clippings. After seeing reports of his draft stock slipping, he put on a performance at the Combine that turned many ahead. Not often are you granted a second chance, and that's exactly what he's received by being drafted. His new team is hoping he'll make the best of it.
I got winners on the way. You ain't without a on your belt. You ain't without a ticket on your plate. You ain't sick enough to put it on yourself. You ain't rich enough to hit the ladder skate. Tell me when destruction gonna be my fate. Gonna be a fate. Gonna be a fate. Peace to the world. Let it rotate. Money, DNA.
I come here today to talk about how I feel. And I feel like that we are treated differently than other people. And I don't like.
Let's go to Adam Schefter with more on Parker.
Experts will debate the value of the IQ test at the Combine each and every day after the fact, but the one thing a player doesn't want to do is turn in the worst score. And this year, it was him. He tested very poorly, and a lot of scouts are of the opinion that he shouldn't have tested at all in the first place. On the bright side, there is a real history of players excelling in the NFL who turned in low IQ scores. I'm sure the GM kept that in mind when making this selection.
I'm restless, and I really can't help it.
I never felt selfish before. I've been living so reckless, I know. Tell me, Lord, can you help me? I said, Lord, can you help me? Now everybody got problems, yeah, but waiting no more way to solve them. I really came up from the bottom, struggling my mama on the last dollar. Hustling, man, I've been putting in these hours. The government been trying to take away what's ours. Really all about the money and the power. I just wanna see my people in power. Tell me how we gon' shape this vision. Complaining all day, but in the same condition. If you wanna make change, it's gon' take commitment. Some people enslaved by their religion can't emancipate the fundamental principles. What I see through optics transform the wisdom. Watch me use my prophets, get them on the listen. I've been on a mission, and I really can't take it no more. I've been fighting temptations, my Lord. I'm young and I'm restless, and I really can't.
The Bears are now on the clock.
I never felt selfish before. I've been living so reckless, I know. Tell me, Lord, can you help me? I said, Lord, can you help me? Now everybody got fights, yeah, but wouldn't know what good advice was. Till they leave him lifeless. Another mama crying, it's another crisis. Lord knows we just trying to live righteous. Are you willing just to make the sacrifices? I know we can't continue living like this, and I never sell my soul cause that's priceless. Tell me how we gon' make a living. Hustle on the block, who gon' save the children? Minutes on the plot and I'm just revealing. The media just trying to make a villain. I just take the pain and pain.
The Packers are now on the clock.
I hear the whispers when I feel this way. And I really can't take it no more.
The Chargers are now on the clock.
Lord, I'm young and I'm restless, and I really can't help it. I never felt selfish before.
Adam, what can you tell us about that last pick?
Like football, rugby's a sport that's played with guys of all shapes and sizes. In his case, he was one of the big guys pushing and pulling blocks in the center of the pitch. He was playing rugby for a university in Australia before he was recruited to transfer and play football for 2 seasons here in America. His first year was spent adjusting to the game, getting used to the different rules and how to play his position properly. The guy even had to adjust how he tackled now that he had to wear pads and a helmet. But his second year is really where we started to see what he could potentially do. He's a physical player at the line of scrimmage. The team was able to pick up a good addition to its line with a bit of an interesting history.
No Harvard, but I was a scholar. Hard knocks, and I learned to be smarter. Don't prefer to be bothered. You get if I order. That's word to my father. I will for my mother. Deal with my brothers. Keep it real. Don't talk with no. Plus I duck undercover. Gotta stay on this mission. Got a vision that's endless. They told me don't be a menace. They gon' serve me.
The Rams are now on the clock.
The illest that did it. Get the cream look. Drop it in it. Give about opinions. I'm just minding my business. If I'm grinding, I'm shining. Don't got time for the gimmicks. I'm it. Squad. 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 Mama cries, dead sons, Lord please bless them. Back to the party, I'm just pouring my. Don't get faced up before, so I live it up. When a come, better get them off. That's a floss track, better get them off. I'ma keep eating, it's a dinner rush. I'll let you finish, y'all. Block of diamonds, I can promise I'm being honest. This being modest, I am your Honest. I am the finest. You rappers, plus you a liar. Don't idolize and I don't admire. Been doing me for like ever. I'm a better me, more clever. It's a new way. We surfing, baby, new age. That's a certain, baby. Let's take a ride. Put your for the ones that die. It's
The Titans are now on the clock.
I'm it. I'm it. I'm it. I'm it. I'm it. I'm it.
Okay, I was gone for a minute, but I'm back now. Sit back down. Seem like everybody nowadays, Hollywood. Oh, it's like that now? I'ma show you how to act now. I'ma show them how
The Texans are now on the clock.
I'ma show him how to act. Okay, now picture little Bobby, just a younger run around with his man's in his hand, feeling like a man. Run for the put it to your brain like. Everybody know you ain't about it. Everything you talk about, I know I can live without it. Red light, stop, green light, go. Everything ain't what it seem like. I know. Hold up, what you mean? Where you been in? This is merely the beginning again. What you been living in? The box under the bridge, like Anthony Kiedis, looking for something to complete us and maybe lead us. A long way from equal is how they treat us. Body of a builder with the mind of a fetus. Turn on the television and see the vision they feed us. And I wish I could erase that face facts. Everybody people, everybody bleed, everybody needs something. Everybody love, everybody know how it go. Everybody people, everybody bleed, everybody needs something. Everybody love, everybody know. I've been knocking Joe down like it witness. God is my witness, I'm witness, but on the real I think I need a...
Now that the Texans have made their pick, let's go to Adam Schefter to hear more.
High on many experts' draft boards early in the season, including Todd McShay's, here's a guy that saw his stock dramatically fall after several public altercations with his coaching staff on the sideline. One owner I spoke with went as far as saying his antics were so disturbing that they immediately eliminated him from their team's big board. Others viewed the altercations as a sign he's passionate about the game and not that he has any type of disdain for authority. Either way, there are enough questions about his character now that make this pick a bit of a risk. They say winning cures all ills, so it should be very interesting to see what happens should this team not get off to a good start.
Everybody bleed, everybody needs something. Everybody love, everybody know. Okay, I was gone for a minute, but I'm back now. Sit back down. Seem like everybody nowadays, Hollywood. Oh, it's like that now? I'ma show you how to act now. I'ma show them how to act. I'ma show you. I'ma show them how to act.
The Bears are now on the clock.
Lagging with Nick, we dump it off like V. Ramonovic. Sorry, homie, you know we not friends, it's off of politics. Politics never get to see who really running. Now you know who running. You rappers on punishment. Papa dog, they be lying on they brother. Everybody scared a little Linky, man, is evident. Feeling like 50 way back in 03 OD. Talking about me on some other 301 screaming 4-4 on my Louis. Papa tags by the mode. Don't they dummy? Pretty much for a gold. Black and yellow with the boots and the gold.
The Jets are now on the clock.
Last week. We don't really care who got last week. Riding under me, the blog and really bumping me. Go some bad. You don't want no problems with a GDCPG. I'm the king of the streets. I never had to struggle when it to a beef. Always 10 toes, so it's hard to defeat.
The Redskins are now on the clock.
He ain't rapped this hard in a long time. You street, all Vita dudes.
The Dolphins are now on the clock.
To the guys on my life, been addicted to the power, ain't gon' lie.
The Eagles are now on the clock.
Put the up in you. Ain't no telling when we do it, we just couldn't get you. Got a bad thinking, ain't lie. Why with some keep my wide, north side bumping north with a deck. When I was a baby, I was wildin' for respect. You gon' get your with the set. Around here and talk crazy, you get we read so many out of here. Wonder why young Licky never had a feel. Say it once, say it twice, you gon' get peace. Anybody ever ask what happened with the
The Ravens are now on the clock.
Way back at home, I started yeah. Around the same time, bumping to your verse tip. I ain't know who went harder, made me wanna celebrate. Now we in the game and I'm so busy from the pain. Looked at you like, dog, look where you came. I don't give a fuck about, man, yeah, change. And let your style and I need my change.
The Saints are now on the clock.
Legging with my fears. Rapping, but I'm quiet when I'm near. I'm always plotting on the bitches and I'm plotting on my fears. We don't need no checks from the boys. We just need respect from the boys. We don't wanna fall in love by the force. So I just get the little re-drilling with the boys here. Yeah.
Always hating, said I'll never make it. I heard he's always talking with them. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. I heard he's mad at me cause I'm getting money. I heard he's mad at me cause he's on me. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. I heard he's mad at me cause I'm shining. They ain't seen it when a young out here grinding. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, yeah. Either way, young getting paid, yeah. I heard he's mad at me.
The Steelers are now on the clock.
With some money in my pockets. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, yeah. Either way, a hater always gonna hate, yeah. Mad at me cause I'm tryna feed my I'm supposed to make it out and I don't bring my No way, no way, no way, yeah. Day ones and they here to stay, yeah. I heard he's always hating, said I'll never make it. I heard he's always talking with them. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, yeah. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
He's mad at me cause I'm getting money. I heard he's mad at me cause he's on me. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, yeah. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, yeah.
I heard he tryna lie me, but I ain't no dummy. It's okay though, got it, you really want it. I spent 13 on the ring and now I feel unlucky. Hey, she love my diamond ring, she said she wanna touch it. It's okay, I get 30K just to hit the stage. Hit my Michael, in my Michael J. I get cake, I cannot complain. Been finessing since I was a kid. In the second grade, selling lemonade. Get paid, hold up, wait. Can I get paid? Yawn, in a break, feel like I'm in space. See a snake, kill a snake, get paid. Get left.
Now that the Cowboys have made their pick, let's go to Adam Schefter to hear more about him.
The old saying of "what have you done for me lately" could be used to explain his rapid rise in draft value. After a late-season performance that saw him make several key blocks leading to scores, sources said that many scouts were willing to overlook otherwise average statistics leading up to his final game. NFL expert Ross Tucker felt that his upside far outweighs any concerns that he's a one-hit wonder. Tucker raved about his natural footwork that he called a quote-unquote gift for someone his size. Patience may be needed to help him grow into his full potential, but this team feels as if it has bolstered its offensive line with this big pick.
Friends to some enemies. It's crazy. Cause it's shining, now you act shady. Yeah. But I guess it's okay. My mama told me you would show me your ways. Yeah. But I gotta check with him. I had the bands. Pull up in the land. Diamonds on me look like Erdy. Erdy's always hating, said I'll never make it. Erdy's always talking with them. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Erdy's mad at me.
The Broncos are now on the clock.
Mad at me, goodies on me. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
As we go on, like we do, when it's hot outside, I wanna just chill with you. What you need, a little mind at ease. There's a little sunshine in the summer breeze. Let's ride, baby, if you feel the same, let me know. If you feel the same, then let me know. Yes, I do. What you got to lose?
You done made it to see a whole nother summer and it feel good. Stop now, top down through the neighborhood. Let the wind blow, open up the window. That girl is poison like Belle DeVoe. We have a barbecue to do FO. Swimming pool party in the back on the low. And the plates of food will be laid out for free. Little kids, get down. I have a bus pull up with Tommy the Clown to do the jerk, go to work and do that dance that'll make your whole body hurt. Playing Bombardier, Common Clear. This that time of the year for everybody to be boisterous. Rock with Snoop Dogg and rejoice to this.
As we go on, like we do,
The Bengals are now on the clock.
I wanna just chill with you. What you need, a little mind at ease. There's a little sunshine in the summer breeze. Let's ride, baby, if you feel the same, let me know. If you feel the same, then let me know. Yes, I do. What you got to lose?
Shined up my white walls, night falls. I'm feeling good. I'm doing things that you never would, like surfing with the sharks.
The Jets are now on the clock.
With my grandson at the park. Evolve while I elevate. Take flight, levitate. Breakfast for dinner. I'm cold as but summer ain't the winter. Finna, bender, Kona, on a 3-wheel motion. I'm headed to the ocean. Caravan full of cars, neighborhood stars. Up the boulevard we go till we can't go no more. It's me and mine, it's summertime. You go off and we go on.
As we go on, like we do, when it's hot.
The Houston Oilers are now on the clock.
What you need,
The Brooklyn Yanks are now on the clock.
there's a little sunshine.
The Panthers are now on the clock.
Let's ride, baby, if you feel the same, let me know.
The Jets are now on the clock.
Let me know. Yes, I do. What you got to lose?
The Falcons are now on the clock. The Steelers are now on the clock.
I done came up, busting down the whole.
broke, it's that bad. Want your people swag. You ain't even gotta ask. What are those? What is that? Please don't touch my rag. Please don't touch my rag. I'm racked up like rappers.
The Colts are now on the clock.
Get out on camera. Squeeze like asthma. It's rare wrath when I wear wrath. Bear wrath when I wear wrath. Might invest into some rap shit. Lord, still shit rap. And I'm dripping on rags. Rick gon' be the tag. Do the digital dash. Yeah, I'm boasting, never brag. Please don't touch my rag. Or the Chris Van Nash. Alessandra Gucci glasses. The W Anderson collab. Yeah, you probably like it. Yeah, you drop it on the. I'ma buy another. Cut, boys bring it back. Yeah, you know how to make it last. Plus, keeping tabs. I'ma fly first class. Quavo hit him with it. Please don't touch my rap.
Don't step on my Ralph Simmons. Don't step on my Ralph Simmons. Don't step on my Ralph Simmons. Do you know how much I'm spending? My closet, it worth about $1 million. To the little of the runway. Then the kitchen. Ralph Simmons. All kind of crazy colors. Living color. Left wrist. Roll it. Ice. Mason Margiela, my sweater. Mama told me never settle. Ralph Simmons, don't lace him. Got your wanna.
Huh? Wait, don't wanna talk about the paper. I swear to God, these be haters. They be hating, I feel out of live in cul-de-sac, don't get along. Ooh, right with my neighbors. Diamonds on my neck and roll it on. Now I later got underbit flavors. I'm with my lifesaver. Ooh, feel like Darth Vader. I'm a boss, you know I might riff it. Ooh, right in my basement. Yeah. But you know that I'm gon' face it. Wait, that's the reason that they mad. Color Uzi, yeah, he made it. Yeah, I wear that rapper, I made it. Yeah, I wear that rapper, I made it. Yeah, got that rap all in my basement. Yeah, once I got patience. Yeah, I'm famous. Yeah, put my side beside Mark Jacob. Hey, making a place with my label. I get it, I count it. 100 on my table.
Sterling silver lasers. That's rubies red, my skin too black, too blush, too red to tint, not pages. This ain't on
The Giants are now on the clock.
Pockets full of mint lead. Been smelling like it brushed teeth. Say cheese, see the porcelain. Water, see backwoods. Raft dragging on the floor. In it. I'm torching the road in these Gucci flames. Stuck to the pavement, they glued. I'm 2.5 million in the venue and 2,500 a tube. I'm cold like I'm sick with the flu. I cover my face and I'm spring summer 2000.
The Bears are now on the clock.
Yeah, please don't touch my ride. In the grass, Teddy, with the Teddy. Quick with the hands ready. Please don't touch my ride. Shirt off, I'm Cam, ready. Dead stock in memory. Please don't pop my tie.
Yeah. Young Gerald. Yeah. Die line with the boom pow. Every week now I switch to a new style. 212s in the back just blew out. Everything I do end up in the news now. Yeah. Lead a club with a few now. Just some Hollywood and they do.
Let's go to Adam now, who has more on the Bears' last pick.
He's one of the few receivers in college that no matter what sort of coverage you threw at him, he always came away with the ball. A great example is one of his impressive touchdown catches that has been on highlight reels ever since. It was late in the game, and the defense knew who the quarterback was going to target. He was surrounded by 3 defenders when his quarterback put the ball in the air. And even though he was completely swamped, somehow he managed to pluck the ball right over the defenders' heads. He isn't the biggest receiver, but he has the ability to stretch and make the play, essentially making him a larger and taller target and a real threat in the red zone. I think this team got a possible difference maker at receiver.
You ain't go. Say less. Yeah. Say less. Hey girl, what it do? If you got friends, cool, bring a few through. No fun if the homies man. R.I.P. Nate Dogg, this too true. And you know what I'm down for. Round 2, round 3, and a round 4. Mood switch when she knocked at the front door. Next up was the uproar. Yeah, was like a week ago, but we both know how weekends go. Tryna tuck off, got some places we could go. Swear she got the like wow, she's blessed on blessed. I don't GA. You tryna yes on yes on yes on yes. less. Say less.
The Rams are now on the clock.
You ain't got. Say less.
Sheesh. What you saying? I don't understand. I'm out my mind. I popped. Sheesh. I swear this lock shot got me stuttering. Girl, you not fall in love again. Sheesh. Get it. My favorite rush. You talkative, ain't gotta say too much. Be quiet. Who got some grapes? I'm trying to. I'm all roll for these. Get in. Not complicated. No conversation. Get in. Not complicated. No conversation. Please say less. Please say less. Please say less.
I'm blessed. I don't G8. I'm trying to. Yes on.
The Titans are now on the clock.
Say less. Say less. You ain't.
The Texans are now on the clock.
Say less. Say less. Say less. You ain't got. You ain't go. Say less.
Like the way it sounds, Frody? Just let me breathe for a minute, man. Just let me breathe. Just let me breathe for a minute, man. Just let me breathe for a minute. Just let me breathe. It's too hot, drop the top off the wagon. Lay back, fire like dragon. Man, I'm flying past Saturn. Out of here like I ain't that savage. Two. It's like I'm at the studio with Michael. You can hear me dancing on the beat. Bam, about to put a mansion on the beach.
The Bills are now on the clock.
In your lobby. That's what happens when you're around with body. And I put that my mommy. I will never give my heart to a rocket. Just
the Seahawks are now on the clock.
Song, then I'ma be on. Basic, gon' dance to it. Basic, everywhere, gon' dance to it. Just let me breathe for a minute. Just let me breathe for a minute. Just let me breathe for a minute. White Range Rover, in it. Let me breathe for a minute. Just let me breathe for a minute, man. Just let me breathe for a minute. White Range Rover, all in it. You gotta, baby, shake that, shake that, shake that. You gotta, baby, shake that, shake that. Shake that. I got 2 shows, I'm about to pitch another. Throwing alley-oops to my brothers. We all shine, nobody victims. I'm on these sweatsuits. Black Pippins, I swag different. That's why the money in the bag different. Come up short, you left your fam. I lay on beaches and swerving whips. You ain't serving, you just an urban.
The Vikings are now on the clock.
Ride around Queens on the jet ski, it's me. Every day get to the day I die. Every day get, man, I that. And I that. Bouncing up and down, nearly broke. Just let me breathe for a minute. Just let me breathe for a minute. Just let me breathe for a minute. White Range Rover, in it. Let me breathe for a minute. Just let me breathe for a minute, man. Just let me breathe for a minute. White Range Rover, in it.
The Steelers are now on the clock.
I'm a running man, sandals slipping off my feet on the sand, counting up the bills with my dominant hand. Yo, choose up.
The Jets are now on the clock.
Appreciate it. This too. Right tear up the rim shot. I'm going global, coast to coast like my G.I. Joe present. I've yet to see a Cobra. So off my.
The Redskins are now on the clock.
Some bombs never go.
The Dolphins are now on the clock.
I'm pitching in.
The Cardinals are now on the clock.
And I can't take a head count. Flashback, 03, things was looking run down. Now I set foot in the place. It's a luau, killing like 10 counts. Y'all know how we get down. House with the fence around. Y'all know that we en route. Transition from the Impala to the Fisker. I should charge admission for that to get the dessert. Left the doors up, now the Lambo has pigtails. Since you getting comfy, I'ma let you sit there. I'ma let you stay there. When I shed a tear, they didn't have no care. So I'ma charge retail. I brought some cause you say you want sick. If you love sick in the room, you best get well. Every dog has its day. What the no tuck. Sway Lee Winter Magazine, double XL. Floss with your Gucci on. Dipped in colors burst on the cars and the jewels. I'm a wanted man. Seats looking like they got a spray tan. When I was without, not a helping hand. I got some.
The Ravens are now on the clock.
I told Ben Frank just to drop a pin. I could let my fit go to the highest bid. Yes, I might drop in. It all depends. Junior high, I was dreaming of a 10. I'm coming clean though. I mean, not a spec. My girl be serving looks. I get the chef. Katana sword popping out my walking cane. I'm overseas, my Cali Bay like how was Spain. We getting to the money and you having issues. I bought a and it came with a wetsuit. The Buddha left me without breath. I really am a mess. I'm mooching off myself. She be hoping that I take a knee. Yes, I be open to that shrimp life. This is how we live, this is how we exist. Love the kicks and we love the hits. All in the house and I'm wrecking. If I sleep, I'm a wrecking. I'm in my own world, throw the money up and make my own weather. Mommy playing, tether on leather. Money talk, it's a lecture.
The Broncos are now on the clock.
It's electric. Don't hate, I'm still unaffected. Chipper on my shoulder, I move undetected. She said, pop the question got deflected. Man, that made my boy, then my brethren. Let's cut to the chase. It's only on the house when we in the place. My used to lava boys got it up in some flames. Stirring up the cup with my wrist souffle. Shaka Zulu chains with my name engraved. I told you on swing, don't say my name in vain. We bring it to your door like, you rang? Spending all the money, then we watch it boomerang. With the Fendi belt, angry face like, put some gold on my fingers, neck, and shoestrings. Long time no see, that's what they say when they see me, man. I've been going crazy just to stay sane. Hey, your girl went missing, who's to blame? Young whippersnapper with the range. Pause, then I went to range. Call that hottie on my stage.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
So it got me like sage. And on me, you should get a raise.
The Raiders are now on the clock.
Yeah, pulling up with the coupe. Oh my goodness. Must have done same with the roof. Oh my goodness. You sitting looking stupid on the stoop. Oh my goodness. I would take notes if I were you. Oh my goodness. This was designed with the stars, the square and the cross, so we know true north. Oh my goodness. Smiling with 50 carats in my jaw. Oh my goodness. The law, it's a shame around. It's a shame they let us jump out of Bentleys with dirty vans. Hit the stage for 15 minutes, get 30 bands. Swiss bank counting clean money with dirty hands. With some hood that's ready to with the. Since I came in and made my name a name brand. French Paris clubbing like a caveman. We threw up the pyramids, now they say we Illuminati. I'm a tsunami, what the is a little yachty. No blood diamonds.
The Broncos are now on the clock.
So cold, made them blow the nose off the Sphinx. You think I'ma be some type of role model? I go full throttle, desperado, that's the motto. Vic in Chicago is Hugh Hef at the grotto. Brazilian model, she mean mugging like Frida Kahlo. Drinking it with an Alicia Machado. I'm the
ticket, you just hit the lotto.
Pulling up with the coupe. Oh my goodness. Must have done same with the roof. Oh my goodness. You sitting looking stupid on the stoop. Oh my goodness. I would take notes if I were you. Oh my goodness. This was designed with the stars, the square and the cross, so we know true north. Oh my goodness. Smiling with 50 carats in my jaw. Oh my goodness. The law, it's a shame, rhyme.
Young Vic, the diamonds, finest. I shine like puff shine, shines if I sign to the rock, cause I'm timeless. Top off the Mozzie, my behavior is mindless. On kids.
The Texans are now on the clock.
Fresh out the cell to the booth, drop the roof. I'm still in the hood, tell, shoot. Hope with a club. The judge, you rappers is false flagging, you a fashion. What's cuz, what you know about? What's Velo? Why Barry leave your head ringing? Free Vic Mensa, I'm a star, chain swinging. This that music, you can blame Reagan. I'm ball mayin' without paying, y'all playing, we playing. My Himalayan, Gallardo, that's a sacrificial lamb. I'm seasoned Cam, no matter, blam.
Pulling up with the coupe. Oh my goodness. Must have done same with the roof. Oh my goodness. You sitting looking stupid on the stoop. Oh my goodness. I would take notes if I were you. Oh my goodness. This was designed with the stars, the square and the cross, so we know true north. Oh my goodness. Smiling with 50 carats in my jaw. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
The law, it's a shame, rhyme, crime.
Every other night I'm outside with
The Browns are now on the clock.
the world. You got chips, you could the next man's girl. Sounds harsh, but they been ripped apart my world. The way Kiss told it should never be misquoted. The that you wave on the camera, we been toting. Selling love potion my whole rap career, so your streams and downloads could never match the kids. We could go foreign until it's boring. My sheep will keep jumping the fence until you're snoring. Street poetry, I'm more Wale for Lauren. Till the world is mine like Illmatic and Lauren. Written on to a table full of fresh.
The Steelers are now on the clock.
Type of rappers we know got the right numbers on it. Burn the Carter down like I'm Nino.
Pulling up with the coupe. Oh my goodness. Must have done same with the roof. Oh my goodness. You sitting looking stupid on the stoop. Oh my goodness. I would take no.
The Panthers are now on the clock.
This was designed with the stars, the square and the cross, so we know true north. Oh my goodness. Smiling with 50 carats in my.
The Eagles are now on the clock.
It's a shame, rhyme, crime.
I stay myself, I never change, yeah.
The Falcons are now on the clock.
Cause, but I still low. Got 100 different to myself.
The Steelers are now on the clock.
33 for low. Ride to my dog sitting in jail. It's that lighter on the grass, spin it back, roll. I'm on Keller, I'm on Bishop, I'm on Flat Show. I'm at Magic, I'm at Bally's, let them go. Then it's right back to the window low. Bars never close and we wide open. Kicking flavor with me, neighbor, yeah, we local. Rap the bottom, cause the bottom where we come from. Me no pray for little paper, need a lump sum. Real spill, yeah, a recipe, yeah. Bro, real spill.
The Colts are now on the clock.
Fall in love with her. She just wanna be a VIP with her. Don't blame me, oh, they just shame me. Had to get it, how I got it on my phone to me. Don't blame me, I'm what the game made me, not what the fame made me. I won't let it change me, I'm the same man.
I stay myself, I never change, yeah. Dirty so they treat me like a stain, yeah. Do whatever, get you paid, yeah. Rolling from the cradle to the grave, yeah.
On my hood, on my block, yeah. On my, I won't stop, yeah. Play with me, I'll let it, yeah. Halo on me, Sailor Rock, yeah.
The Giants are now on the clock.
Keep one, move, yeah. You my little baby boo, yeah.
The Bears are now on the clock. The Packers are now on the clock.
Don't blame me, oh, niggas shame me. Had to get it how I got it on my own 2 feet. Don't blame me, I'm what the game made me, not what the fame made me. I won't let it change me, I'm the same man.
I stay myself, I never change, yeah, yeah, yeah. Dirty soda, treat me like a stain, yeah, yeah, yeah. Do whatever, get
The Chargers are now on the clock. The Buccaneers are now on the clock. The Rams are now on the clock. The Titans are now on the clock.
Falling too fast to prepare for this. Tripping in the world could be dangerous. Everybody circling as vultures. Negative, nepotist. Everybody waiting for the fall of man. Everybody praying for the end of times. Everybody hoping they could be the one. I was born to run, I was born for this. Whip, run me like a racehorse. Pull me like a ripcord. Break me down and build me up. I wanna be the slip. Word upon your lip. Rather that you rip. Break me down and build me up. Whatever it takes.
The Bills are now on the clock.
Looking at my body feeling miserable. I was hanging on to the visual. I wanna be invisible. Looking at my years like I'm martyrdom. Everybody needs to be a part of them. Never be enough from the prodigal son. I was born to run, I was born for this. Whip, run me like a racehorse. Pull me like a ripcord. Break me down and build me up. I wanna be the slip.
The Seahawks are now on the clock.
Rip, break me down and build me up. Whatever it takes.
The Bears are now on the clock.
Working out something that I'm proud of. Out of the box, an epoxy to the world and the vision we've lost. I'm an apostrophe. I'm just a symbol to remind you that there's more to see. I'm just a product of the system of catastrophe. And yet a masterpiece. And yet I'm half diseased. And when I am deceased, at least I go down to the grave and die happily. And leave the body of my soul to be a part of me. I do what it takes, whatever it takes. Cause I love the adrenaline in my veins. I do whatever it takes. Cause I love how it feels.
The Jets are now on the clock.
Whatever it takes. You take me to the top. I'm ready for whatever it takes.
The Redskins are now on the clock. The Dolphins are now on the clock. The Cardinals are now on the clock.
I go out for my squad and I put that on. Squad? All I got is my word and my word is my bond. Squad? Yeah, they gon' look at you different when you moving forward. But you stick to the code, you get yours, I get mine. Squad. Yeah, I go extra high for my entourage. Check my repertoire, Jim Jones. Everywhere I go, you know it's reppin' time. It's reppin' time. When Latifah ready, when we set it off, we set it off. If they sleeping on me, I'ma wake them up they fakers. I got really.
The Ravens are now on the clock.
Plus I got my mama and my kiddies too, they growing up. Time is
The Saints are now on the clock.
no holding back. Got a lot to prove. I owe you that we all we got.
The Broncos are now on the clock.
Put that on squad. All I got is my word, and my word is my bond. Squad. Yeah. They gon' look at you different when you moving forward. Show this. But just stick to the code. You get yours, I get mine. I've been reflecting on how we got this far, even when the pressure's on, finessing strong. Plus I got my team around me heavy, ain't no extra bros.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
He's on delusional.
The Raiders are now on the clock.
Question that, who gon' have your mama back? Think about it, it's so much more than life, take advantage. We gon' get this money, stack this paper, and be alright. We gon' run it, keep on finish on sight. I go out for my squad and I put that on squad. All I got is my word, and my word is my bond. Squad. Yeah. They gon' look at you different when you moving forward. But just stick to the code, you get yours, I get mine. Squad.
The Broncos are now on the clock. The Broncos are now on the clock. The Bengals are now on the clock. The Jets are now on the clock.
Doing styles on them like it's common sense. Hopped out the Benz like it's common sense. Put a monkey on my
The Houston Oilers are now on the clock.
in the streets like it's common sense. Stack the money heads up like it's second nature. Gotta stay pulled up like it's second nature. Keep a chip in my ear like it's second nature. Big make me stare like second nature. Says disappear like second nature. On the same block like an hour later. Whole team eating but it's only right. There's a spare plate but you're the phony type. J-Hus ugly in it. Baby 1 minute. You're looking wicked. Hey yo, I started off gentle. My stroke game mental. My lifestyle eventful. I didn't mean to offend you. Fendi belt saying I style like I'm mental. Moving wild and mental. I made another 5 this week. Your money playing hide and seek. I don't even like to speak. I just tell him hi and bye. Slide up.
The Brooklyn Yanks are now on the clock. The Panthers are now on the clock.
On them like it's common sense. Hopped out the Benz like it's common sense. Put a monkey.
The Jets are now on the clock.
Got gorillas in the streets like it's common.
The Falcons are now on the clock.
Like it's second nature.
The Steelers are now on the clock.
Second nature.
The Colts are now on the clock.
Second nature. Big make me share.
The Giants are now on the clock.
I'm handling it, handy with it. Think I'ma do it, let that do it. Bang, stick jam like what happened to it. Was it not working, bruv? Why you think I'm lurking, bruv? Creep on him, lean on him, witnesses eavesdropping, keep popping. They keep bopping like I ain't seen nothing. Don't make me upset, reach for an object. Who's that in the passenger? Brown skin, got big body. In my face, on me.
The Bears are now on the clock.
Popping, never pop nothing, stop bluffing. Your opinion, always destined for brilliance. Wouldn't rest on a million, dressed as civilians. All them masked up looking creepy. Park up, jump out, jump in. Skirt out like it's
The Packers are now on the clock.
didn't see me. Doing styles on them like it's common sense. Hopped out the Benz like it's common sense. Put a monkey on my feet like it's common sense. Got gorillas in the streets like it's common sense. Stack the money heads up like it's second nature. Gotta stay pulled up like it's second nature. Keep a chip in my ear like it's second nature. Big make me
Stand back, second name job.
The Chargers are now on the clock. The Buccaneers are now on the clock. The Rams are now on the clock. The Texans are now on the clock.
It's in the genes, you know what I mean? all the types. Montana.
You know, I'm like, yeah.
The Seahawks are now on the clock.
Man.
When I pull up, they
The Jaguars are now on the clock.
like Jody said, but don't you be too close to me. Them goons you see, let it
The Jets are now on the clock.
things. I bring them things. I call them, bring them things. Mucho, I bring them things. Looking so expensive, rings and things. I bring them things.
Now that the Jets have made their pick, let's go to Adam Schefter to hear more about him.
I'm not surprised to see him taken with this pick, given he was probably one of the most dominant defensive linemen in college this season. His combination of athleticism and set of pass rush moves gave college offensive linemen fits and gave him a leg up on the rest of the competition. Pass rushers are at a premium in the NFL these days, and when someone with his talent is available, you need to take him. If his performance this season is any indication, he has the potential to be a playmaker on the defensive line for years to come.
Dreams is a secret to the youth.
The Ravens are now on the clock.
Spit the juice.
Y'all be vaping, I be laden. Yes, y'all be aping. I'm Richard Mill Nation. No diamonds, just tourbillon facing with gears and sprockets with the sapphire casing.
When I pull up,
The Saints are now on the clock.
like Jody said, but don't you be too close to me. Them goons you see, let it go for me. I bring them things. I bring
The Broncos are now on the clock.
them things. Mucho,
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
expensive rings and things. I bring them things. I bring them things. I bring them things.
The Raiders are now on the clock.
Here's a little story about a kid from Morocco. Had to show Carlito I was Benny Blanco. Check it out. Raindrop, all set. Plug, we the outlet. Shot put me in the box. I'm in the box off. All the face shorty, socks off. Mac Miller, Reggie Miller, the killer, Canaries, Black Stiller, White Villa, French vanilla, garage like a kill himself. Lauren
The 49ers are now on the clock.
Calabasas on the hill. I had him on the plate. Beatles on the red carpet. Alcatraz bars, crash cars, ain't no future in front. My homies rip your mask off.
When I pull up, they notice me. Come and talk to me like Jody said, but don't you be too close to me. Them goons you see, let it go for me. I bring them things. I bring them things. I call them, bring them things. Mucho,
The Lions are now on the clock.
so expensive rings and things.
The Bengals are now on the clock.
I bring them things. I bring them things.
I look up. So many.
Oh my God.
So many.
I done make
The Browns are now on the clock.
so many sacrifices.
Straight up.
I done gave up so much free time, knowing time ain't free.
The Houston Oilers are now on the clock.
Girl, show me less, you know I make sacrifices. And if it's real love, then you make sacrifices. To get ahead, man, you gotta make sacrifices. That's how hungry my appetite is. Yeah. Yeah. What you telling me? I sense the jealousy. I got telepathy. I got the recipe. I got the streets and I don't got no felony. Forward thinking, yeah, my mind is ahead of me. Mama said it's gonna be whatever you let it be. It's some homies I grew up with that's dead to me. It's some that I just met in debt to me. What's in common is they both pay respect to me. I get
The Brooklyn Yanks are now on the clock.
I came a long way from them.
The Barons have made their selection. For more about him, let's go to Adam Schefter.
He was always a physical player, and all the tests confirmed it, but what scouts saw at the All-Star game was poor technique. It looked to me like he was playing a little too aggressive, and it worked against him. I spoke with one coach who seemed to like him, but also said he needed to be taught how to tackle properly. He had a lot of success on physical play alone in college, but that won't work anymore in the NFL.
So many sacrifices. Straight up. I done gave up so much free time, knowing time ain't free. I sacrificed it. My girl showed me love, she know I make sacrifices.
The Falcons are now on the clock.
You make sacrifices.
The Steelers are now on the clock. The Colts are now on the clock.
That's how hungry my appetite is. Yeah.
The Giants are now on the clock.
Focus on an enemy, never on an enemy. And I done sacrificed my own time. I done sacrificed my own mind. I done sacrificed the club life. I done sacrificed my love life. But I cut the drama out my energy. Focus on an enemy, never on an enemy. And I done sacrificed my own time. I done sacrificed my own mind. I done sacrificed the club life. I done sacrificed my love life.
Also, I done sacrificed the thug life. Diamond shining.
The Bears are now on the clock.
To get my mind right. Pull up in the Rari loud pipe. Them the dime, my wrist undone.
The Packers are now on the clock.
I bought that new charm. Papa and I told her come see about me. Come on, come see me. The devil had entered my soul. My mama had beat it out. The devil, my mama had remember my grandma had told me you better be somebody. Hop in my seats, massage.
The Chargers are now on the clock.
I made an M deposit.
The Rams are now on the clock.
Sacrifice your strides for that stain.
The Texans are now on the clock.
Sacrifice your life for that
The Bills are now on the clock.
Sacrifice that money for white. Left hand got 3 rings. That's brum brum. We up one. Bad, dear savage. Take her to the mall and buy some.
The Seahawks are now on the clock.
Wanna make your friends come. Make way with the timing. Tell me. Why can't y'all recognize that we?
The Vikings are now on the clock.
Why can't y'all recognize that we all came from sacrifice? 10 toes, yeah, you gotta stay down there.
The Jaguars are now on the clock.
For a way out, people watching, yeah, I gotta skip town,
The Jets are now on the clock.
I done made sacrifices.
The Dolphins are now on the clock.
So many sacrifices. Straight up. I done gave up so much free time, knowing time ain't free. I sacrificed it. My girl showed me love, she know I make sacrifices. And if it's real love, then you make sacrifices. To get ahead, man, you gotta make sacrifices. That's how hungry my appetite.
The Ravens are now on the clock.
Yeah, I know my great auntie was a slave.
The Chargers are now on the clock.
Sacrifice she made.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
She had
The Raiders are now on the clock.
She gave wasn't in vain. I sacrificed for your entertainment, boy. I'm Mr. Anderson in the Matrix. Check the last name, it's all facts. In the human race, it's all about pacing. Look at all the ones I outlasted. I'm the one at the end, like I count backwards.
The Lions are now on the clock.
Till the afterlife, make a sacrifice down.
Why can't y'all recognize that we all came from sacrifice? Why can't y'all recognize that we all came from sacrifice?
The Bengals are now on the clock.
Yeah, little fish. I say, Lord, be my savior when it comes to getting this paper. Please protect me from my haters. Just say me and I won't save us. Say amen. Amen, amen, yeah. Amen. That boys and they can't win. Can't win.
The Browns are now on the clock. The Houston Oilers are now on the clock. The Brooklyn Yanks are now on the clock. The Panthers are now on the clock.
Don't touch, we flow up, yeah. I'm laughing to the bank. Our new blue Benny Franks. Pulled up on them in the tank, yeah.
The Eagles are now on the clock.
Let me back, I gave me until I was going on. I'm Miami. They all cornballs. They can't stand me. I finesse. I done. I hit. Get a plan.
The Falcons are now on the clock. The Steelers are now on the clock. The Colts are now on the clock. The Giants are now on the clock.
People tell me from my haters, just say me and I won't ever say amen. That boys and they can't win. Check. Going up. Win it, we gonna. Going up. Did it like my persona. Going up.
The Bears are now on the clock.
Now we pull up in the furnace. Go up. Walk in. Show up. Baby, hold up. Go up. Boy, don't touch. We flow. Blow up. She lucky. Cause she 5 mil cash in Kentucky.
The Packers are now on the clock.
Like it's nothing. I ain't with the demons. They don't play by me. We cut. I was coolin'. Atlanta. Mixed with the fan up. All them. I got Santa. I go monkey. All that. Gonna do just what I say. Pull up.
The Buccaneers are now on the clock.
She's so bad, but she said.
The Titans are now on the clock.
That's why I just plead my case. I say, Lord.
The Bills are now on the clock.
People tell me from my haters, just say me and I won't ever say amen. That boys and they can't win. Check. Going up. Win it, we gonna. Going up. Did it like my persona. Going up. Living up was honest.
The Seahawks are now on the clock.
Pull up in the furnace. Go up. Walk in. Show up. Baby, hold up. Blow up. Boy, don't touch. We flow. Blow up.
The Vikings are now on the clock. The Jets are now on the clock. The Dolphins are now on the clock. The Ravens are now on the clock.
Picture me putting my city all over the map.
The Broncos are now on the clock.
I had to get even in mad.
The Raiders are now on the clock. The 49ers are now on the clock.
So tell them I got a new girl. Tell them that I'm in the bank and I want all my 50s in cash. I'm tired of living check to check. I need 20 models. This is smiling in my grave, fresh to death. I've been Wu-Tang with a spectral deck. I gotta just get off my chest.
The Texans are now on the clock.
Take it how you want it.
The Browns are now on the clock.
Blow the speakers and turn up.
The Houston Oilers are now on the clock. The Brooklyn Yanks are now on the clock. The Panthers are now on the clock.
For a long time. If you don't like me, take a ticket. There's a long line. Nice to meet me. I think the pleasure's all mine. They've been clocking.
The Eagles are now on the clock.
You lush. What you mean? What you mean? And now trust the.
How come nobody's at the podium? That's because both teams are right now working on a trade.
Whoa, what you mean? Don't know what you think, compare me to. Adrenaline popping, the blood will be leaking and running.
The Falcons are now on the clock. The Steelers are now on the clock. The Colts are now on the clock.
I'm in the bank and I want all my money in hundreds. I'm tired of living on the edge. I want it, they gon' call the feds. I just bought a cost an arm and leg. My mama told me take it back and get a job instead. Where's your common sense? Me and the devil got too much in common, I swear. Born in the ghetto, I never had nothing to fear.
The Giants are now on the clock.
So I might just throw a hissy fit. Call up Cassie after she broke up with Diddy, yeah. I told Shorty if she talking, and she gon' call her friends up and we did, whoa. I ain't in the talking, go chop off your lips. If I ain't in your top 10, go top 4 for bridge. My black boys that knock off your lid. I doubt y'all gon' pop off, so hop off my. What you mean? I said, what you mean? Listen, I don't trust her, so no. I said, what you mean? Whoa, 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 whoa. I said, what you mean?
You thought I was finished, you thought it was over. You thought I retired, you thought I went fishing with Kobe. I'm still as ill as considered as one of the coldest. Still a put a partner rapper here like Moses. I'm throwback like a molar roller. I'm cooler than a cup of yogurt. Black flag boy, truck soldier. I'm cool with laws and Ayatollahs. Rap gods like Cyclops and Ogre. I'm King Kong, ain't nobody told you. You think road still. And Barbara Brown about to go get. Paul McCartney, I'm rich. I'm Muhammad Ali, I talk. I'm James Brown, about to tear down this. I'm Michael Jackson, some baddest bag gon' get it. What you mean?
People tryna say I'm only enemy. Got a code with my dogs, can't get in between. I can give them life, no more energy. Man, amen. Spent about 60 on the time, I can't even lie. No way in, no way out, do or die. So on road when I roll, must be. Amen, man.
I can't ride Benz, I don't do peace. I beast, I gotta eat. Saber tooth, tiger, diamond tooth teeth. Rockin' right now, won't you come peep? I was outside. The way that shake, leave your mouth wide. You need to say grace for you say thanks.
Amen. What's left in my life, don't know what's in store. I've been dealing with these blessings that I can't ignore. Putting up the numbers, we ain't keeping score. Amen. I here on the block, my side. Run it in the house for it's 12 o'clock. Yeah, the hood love me, but you gotta watch. Amen.
I just three, I don't do sleep. Yeah, tryna see. UV. Yeah, we gon' fall through, coming through deep.
Amen.
Yeah, packed it from the south, moved it to the west. Iced the logo on the cross, threw it on my neck. Yeah, when I rep the set, gotta stay blessed. Yeah.
Amen. People tryna say I'm only enemy. Got a code with my dogs, can't get in between. I can give them life, no more energy. Amen.
Man, what it meant to me. Everybody tryna take the identity. Everybody around me turn to a friend of me. Sit back while I take on the remedy. I cannot let it get into me. This plan a toll on me, meant to me.
Polo to the flow though. You already know though. It's Adamville for real. You see ya, just take a photo. I'm reppin' that's on photo with a on your bro though. Cause that Jodo thought that he could rob a player for some dodo. Oh no, I'm so Allen Temple. I'm so England Manor. I'm so Misty Valley. And I got a couple yesterday out of Cali. And my bag from the valley bought me brand new balance. And I'm playing with a no American dream, dusty road. Man, she been riding since her daddy rode on bold. I done in every hole, telling every I ain't with my wife, but if she meet her, might be a go. Rick Flair flashy. Don't I look dashy? Don't I look classy? Don't act so sassy. I'm the man, boo. That's with or without you. With what your say. Show me what that.
I hear him talking practice. I won't even stress. Just kill him softly with my press. Won't even address. They say it lonely at the top, but it's the best. Hey, don't you see me out here shining, barely flex. I hear him talking practice. I won't even stress. Just kill him softly with my press. Won't even address. They say it lonely at the top, but it's the best. And even if we die today, gon' live forever. Live forever.
Daddy pants ain't with 3 X's. The X's, no X's on my chest, but all these diamonds got me blessed. Usually I don't do this. Dumb it down, go stupid. Since 17 been counting M's, my bank accounts on goofy. They say gave up. Now who know what the truth is? Chicago full of my garage is full of hoopers. Got that southern drawl and all that. My like ball bags. The South got something to say, and all y'all can't get y'all ball back. If I ain't a hot boy, then what do you call sex? Daddy fat, y'all never fall back. Like clocks in the wintertime, we stay eating like it's dinner time. Been feasting and feasting big, but it ain't no rhyme. We don't know the meaning of drought, cause we keep it so wet. Why swear now? It's been a while. Just speaking in general, boy, there is no formidable opponent or at that bone that you never step on it. When you want it, mind the kind of give it hope when they down and out. Dig a hole so deep, ain't no climbing out.
Yeah, I hear him talking reckless. I won't even stress. Just kill him softly with my press. Won't even address. They say it lonely at the top, but it's the best. Don't you see me out here shining, barely flex. I hear him talking reckless. I won't even stress. Just kill him softly with my press. Won't even address. They say it lonely at the top, it's the best. And even if we die today, don't live forever. Live forever.
Yo, listen, just like I told Coco, my vision is you already know though. So go slow, back my logo, for show, Coco, get down on the. Yo, listen, just like I told Coco, my vision is you already know though. So go slow, back my logo, for show, Coco, now get down on it.
Yeah, I've been since my early days. I've been stuck in my worldly ways. Propaganda, press, pan the camera. Please don't look at me in my face. Everybody might see my pain. Off the rail, might myself. Bored with life as aboard this plane. Steward this sex if I need help. Maybe what's your last name? Hopefully it still ain't been changed. Something about you make me not doubt you. I will silence my brain, scream louder. Asking when I'm gon' myself. Couple problems, my cash ain't help. Human issues too strong for tissue. False provider, war mask by wealth. Move your body if you came here to party. If not, then pardon me. How I'm supposed to have a good time with death and destruction's all I see. Out the sight, I'm out of my mind. The sound of sunshine is calling me. The vibrations is all I need.
see black cats in the daytime too. I see black cats on the daytime news when handcuffed, wrist and his skin turned blue. I met God once at the rendezvous and felt starstruck.
Vince, the car's out front.
Got things to do, got to make my moves. I can't miss my flight and miss you too, boo. First class seats is overrated. Won't go lest they overpay us. Nowadays I'm overdating my street for stay well acquainted. Their morning is calling me. Good vibrations is all I need. All I need. All I need. Move your body if you came here to party. If not, then pardon me. How I'm supposed to have a good time with death and destruction's all I see. Out the sight, I'm out in my mind. The sound of sunshine is calling me. Good vibrations is all I need. All I need. All I need. Party people, yeah. Party people, I like to see you dance. Party people, yeah. Party people, I like to see you dance. Party people, move. Party people, I like to see you groove. This is how we do. This is how we do. Yeah, 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 yeah. Starts with a feeling, and you ride it like a wave. Crash into the sparks can come together. Don't need a reason why the universe was made. It goes on and on and on and on forever. And it's a long flight on this battle star where we fight for love no matter where we are. Oh, 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 oh. And there's a big bang in this universe, and it makes me feel like the go don't work. Oh, 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 oh. You got me like ooh. You got me like you got me like and ooh, with all the things you do. Yeah, anything and everything a man can feel. Well, honey, I'm feeling with you. Baby, you're flashing, and I'm blinded by your light. I love the way you Jupiter is rising. You got me reacting like a lunatic tonight. I love the way the stars are all aligning. You got me like ooh. You got me like you got me like and ooh, with all the things you do. Yeah, anything and everything a man can feel. Well, honey, I'm feeling with you. You got me like ooh, I'm feeling you. You make me feel like the world's spinning like a satellite. You make me feel like the sun is blasting out a ray of light, ray of light. You got me like ooh. You got me like you got me like and ooh, with all the things you do. Yeah, anything and everything a man can feel. Well, honey, I'm feeling with you. Girl, you got me like come on. You got me like ooh. You got me like you got me like ooh. I'm feeling you. Yeah, yeah. You got me like yeah, yeah, yeah. You got me like
Man, too broke to pay attention. Man.
this ambition. A couple million make you stand different. They dropped the ball and so I ran with it. I'm like, man, listen. All I got is this ambition. A couple million make you stand different. They dropped the ball and so I ran with it. The game is friendless, the pain is endless. The game changed, I blame these lame pretenders. My friends and Benzes parked at the entrance. Inside, you still hear the engine. Like, ren, this is your ending. If you're offended, I dare you defend it. This rushing through my blood like the Kremlin. I'm back with a vengeance, and this is what the sound of revenge is. Win-win, man, listen. All I got is this ambition. A couple million make you stand different. They dropped the ball and so I ran with it. I'm like, man, listen. All I got is this ambition. A couple million make you stand different. They dropped the ball and so I ran with it. Where I come from, you can't visit. I talk money, I guess you understand different. Hand gestures counting till my hands blister. You can't miss us louder than Fran Drescher. Pinky rings, hand kisses, soprano. I feel like Paulie Castellano in designer stitches. I heard him say I made Rihanna. Mind your business, what kind of honor is this? I'm trying to see Madonna, all kind of riches. In Miami, dining with the finest. Everybody acting kind of vicious. These politicians won't let my brother visit. I'm like, man, listen. All I got is this ambition. A couple million make you stand different. They dropped the ball and so I ran with it. I'm like, man, listen. All I got is this ambition. A couple million make you stand different. They dropped the ball and so I ran with it. He's a fake baller, globe trotter, bank account $4. No comma, I know you wanna pop collars. I know you wanna pop collar. Top dollar, pull up in that top dollar. Yeah. She got that top dollar. Yeah. Man, listen. All I got is this ambition. A couple million make you stand different. They dropped the ball and so I ran with it. I'm like, man, listen. All I got is this ambition. A couple million make you stand different. They dropped the ball and so I ran with it.
That's it.
I've been rolling on the freeway, I've been riding 85. I've been thinking way too much, and I'm way too gonna drive. I got anger in my chest, I got millions on my mind, and you didn't fit the picture, so I guess you want the vibe.
LOV on my right leg, that's Gucci. Dig what I'm saying. LOV on my man, that's Gucci. Dig what I'm saying. Caught a little jet lag, but I'm golden. Yeah. We deserve Grammys and some Oscars. They deserve Whammies, they imposters. I be rolling with my project homies, it's a vibe. I just with the homie, it's a vibe. Over switch sides, it's a vibe. Yeah. I gon' do it. I gotta accept that I'm a. I pull up in several different options. That I will most ever. I shatter your dreams with this cream I make. Gotta be on to think of what I say. What? I can't feel my toes, but ain't gon' fold up. I was in the double law when I rolled.
I've been rolling on the freeway, I've been riding 85. I've been thinking way too much, and I'm way too gonna drive. I got anger in my chest, I got millions on my mind, and you didn't fit the picture, so I guess you want the vibe. I've been rolling on the freeway, I've been riding 85. I've been thinking way too much, and I'm way too gonna drive. I got anger in my chest, I got millions on my mind, and you did
you, so I guess you want the vibe.
Dig what I'm saying, Chanel drapes on me daily. Dig what I'm saying, sponsored by Mercedes. Dig what I'm saying, this Creek cologne is on me, maybe. Dig what I'm saying, I'm going hard, yeah. I pop in your memory, You should be glad I'm showing you sympathy, I gave you real love out the gutter, Ever let you go, you gon' suffer from it. I go through it. I gotta accept that I pull up in several different options, yeah. That I but most of them. I shatter your dreams with this cream I make. What? Gotta be on the think of what I say. What? I can't feel my toes, but they ain't gon' fold up. I was in the double law when I rolled. Yeah.
I feel like I should be giving up. You can't leave it's too much. But I'm tired of you, me on. And I don't like where this is going. And I've been stuck in all your apologies. Gave my all, but you want it all from me. Keep your love, it doesn't feel the same. I hope it hurts you when you hear my name.
Know your place, yeah, know your place, yeah. I got like right now, I'm impatient. I got women on the cell trying to give me. I still wish it would, I still wish them well, yeah. Put my problems in them. Only check up when the checks come. My pockets looking blessed up. All the talking never stressed us. They talking like they jealous of me. They talking like they never love me. They talking like they next door. I still treat them like some. Showers on the way. I've been working 25 hours every day. Pull up with the bands, have them dancing in the rain. Pull up with the bands, have them dancing in the rain. Yo. Know your place, yeah, know your place, yeah. I got like right now, I'm impatient. I got women on the cell trying to give me. I still wish it would, I still wish them well, yeah. Know your place, yeah, know your place, yeah. I got like right now, I'm impatient. I got women on the cell trying to give me. I still wish it would, I still wish them well, yeah. Promises and wishes, candles for my exes now. Ain't no fingers let to count my blessing now. Promises and wishes, trust me, it's been different now. No rings for the things I go missing now. Promises and wishes. Why would I ever start celebrating? Why would I ever start celebrating? I'm naming all the hearts I've been breaking. I'm naming all the hearts I've been breaking. The showers on the way. I've been working 25 hours every day. Pull up with the bands, have them dancing in the rain. Pull up with the bands, have them dancing in the rain. Yo. Know your place, yeah, know your place, yeah. I got like right now, I'm impatient. I got women on the cell trying to give me. I still wish it would, I still wish them well, yeah. Know your place, yeah, know your place, yeah. I got like right now, I'm impatient. I got women on the cell trying to give me. I still wish it would, I still wish them well, yeah.
descending. Oh, you gotta hit the ground. Ain't no chain gonna hold me down. Dig deep, feel the burn. I've got a calling, so watch and learn. I heard a voice of this broken hymn saying, nah, this is who I am.
I know you ain't there yet. Don't stop to catch your breath. You're going higher and higher, higher and higher. Let go, set me free. Got the streets all I need. We're going higher and higher, higher and higher. Oh, keep running. Oh, keep running. Oh, keep running. Reach out, reach out. Oh, keep running. Oh, keep running.
Boom, boom, can you feel the flame? Hold on, I can make it rain. Oh, do you hear the thunder? No, don't let it bring you down. Look up and see the light. You're not alone, don't give up like that. Oh yeah, got a ways to go. Break that wall, let the spirit flow.
I know you ain't there yet. Don't stop to catch your breath. You're going higher and higher, higher and higher. Let go, set me free. Got the streets all I need. We're going higher.